Yeah, so I guess we can move on to the last story of this week. And it's all about the Call of Duty game that has been kind of rumored and floated around for a long time. So according to a tweet that has since been corroborated by Eurogamer, this year's game will be called Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now, it's important before I continue with reading that this is not something that Activision has expressly confirmed yet. So even though it's been corroborated by Eurogamer, I do want to at least put it in the rumor camp for now until we get that formal announcement, because who knows what can happen from now till then. The Black Ops Cold War name first appeared on Twitter by leaker Okami13, and Eurogamer has since reported it's heard the same news from its sources. In the background, these are unnamed sources right now. This means that much like 2019's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, developer Treyarch is going back to where Call of Duty Black Ops started, a stark change from the future-based Warfare Black Ops series traded in with its third and fourth installments. So it looks like they're kind of going back to that quote-unquote boots-on-the-ground gameplay as kind of like a move back from kind of the Crisis, Titanfall, wall-running, crazy jetpack futuristic shooters that they've been doing for a while now. And people have wanted them to go back, but you have to keep in mind that Call of Duty Black Ops 3 and 4 sold great. So these games are selling whether they're in the future or the past, to be honest. But just because you go back to the past doesn't mean that you automatically get success. Call of Duty World War II sold great, but critical reception was a little bit meh, and the lifeline of that game didn't last as long as a lot of the previous titles. People kind of moved on from World War II a lot faster than the previous titles. So the success of this game, I think, is completely dependent on, obviously, the multiplayer suite that they offer. A good campaign speaks a lot to me, and if they're doing a campaign in the Cold War, I'm there day one, guaranteed. But again, the online suite, the integration of the Warzone mode and all that will kind of make or break this title. So do you have any interest in this game?
So I'm not a huge Call of Duty fan in general, but I am a huge Black Ops fan. And I'm a huge fan of Treyarch. So my first Call of Duty game when I was in high school and was able to scrunch up enough money for PS3 was World at War. World at War, which was, had the zombies for the first time and all that kind of stuff. And I play the story all the time. I wasn't good I didn't try to be good online, especially since it was a year after the game had come out. I think Modern Warfare 2 was out already when I was playing World at War. Couldn't afford Modern Warfare 2. But I love that story. I love the aspect of it. I loved everything about it. And one thing is, Call of Duty's, people will try to get at Call of Duty at the time, but their shooting and their story writing is usually pretty top notch. So I usually really follow the Black Ops series. So I love Black Ops 1. Black Ops 2, if I remember, it was the last midnight launch I went to get the care package edition that came with a little foam droid and stuff like that. And I super loved Black Ops 2 online. Their story was already starting to get kind of weird, where they were trying to do branching stories and decisions and less character base. Black Ops 3 went, I don't even remember. I don't know. I remember playing the campaign. I think the final boss is a USB drive or something like that. Something stupid. But, and then Black Ops 4 was no campaign. So I'm a super big fan of Black Ops. So I was worried when we heard that Treyarch was taking over, because this wasn't supposed to be their year. They took over someone else's year or something like that, correct? If I don't remember.
I believe. Yeah, they
someone else
doubled
was
back to Black Ops. It was supposed to be Sledgehammer, I think.
Sledgehammer was supposed to happen or something like that. So they quickly changed. Hopefully that doesn't mean that they had to rush it, and because I'd hate for the Treyarch to be the one to get the short stick on this. So I'm excited for them to get back into more of that older time, because that was the big thing about Black Ops was, instead of Modern Warfare was the big thing, we've had tons of World War II shooters. So when they started going on to these smaller sections, these smaller wars, and the stuff that was going on with Black Ops 1 with Mason and that character and the brainwashing, and he ends up being the guy who, spoiler, kills JFK and stuff like that, and all these kind of crazy things that they were able to do in Black Ops 1. I'm excited for them to really take it back. I'm curious on how they're going to see, because as we see, Warzone is making a lot of money and people are super populated on it. How you incorporate that? You can't just change the whole game and make it into to fit that Cold War aspect. And I don't see them doing what they did with Black Ops 4 where they just abandoned that battle royale. That battle royale's still up, obviously, but to most extent they abandoned that battle royale. A blackout, I think was what they called it, and now it's all about Warzone. I don't see them doing the same thing where they're like, all right, no more Warzone, now it's Black Ops, whatever they call battle royale. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm curious also if, because they really ran that zombie thing into the ground, because they let every Call of Duty have the zombie game instead of letting just Treyarch take care of it. You know, they all had it for a while, so it's like, what do you do? How do you fulfill that full package? Because you can't just expect people to be like, well, no, there's another third mode. It's Warzone. Here it is. And patch it in or whatever they end up doing. So I'm excited for this, for mainly the campaign. That's where I really live with Call of Duty now. The run and gun aspect of like the multiplayer doesn't speak to me much anymore. I still know it's super popular. Again, I dabbled in the Warzone. And the shooting's great, but the story is where I really live with these games now. Especially like Modern Warfare was a really cool prequel to the Modern Warfare series. So that's where my opinion is. I kind of assume this is true because every May is when they announce the next Call of Duty game. So it's the fact that we have not gotten something official yet, or something teasing yet, because they usually do like some weird counter, or Activision will just randomly post a counter for some random date and they announce it. Again, we still do have another week in May. I can't remember last time a Call of Duty game wasn't announced in May. I can't even think. They usually announce them in May. I don't know. So it's weird that they haven't done it yet. I'm assuming now that this is starting to leak, before we know it, I don't know, GameStop's going to leak a poster. I think that's how Black Ops 2 was.
Amazon France.
Or yeah. The homeboys in Amazon France. Yeah. Yeah, they'll put the whole game, all the deluxe editions. They leaked, I think, if I remember, Black Ops 4, their highest collector's edition was I think the Zombie Crate or something like that. They just had the whole thing out and the game wasn't even announced. So it was wild. Black Ops 2, I think I remember walking into GameStop and they had the posters up. They're like, hey, we were told to put these up today. But I was like, the game's not even announced. They're like, yeah, we can pre-order it right now. And I pre-ordered it right there. So Call of Duty has that weird thing where people are expecting this announcement in this month. So they might as well kind of just get off the pot and announce it.
Yeah, I mean, I have like a strange relationship with Call of Duty because we're kind of like the obvious minority who play the campaigns and kind of like that's kind of like the first thing we go to, if that's the only thing we go to. So I've always kind of had the experience. It's like, yeah, I buy it once a year, play it for like a week or two until I beat the campaign, and then I kind of just move on. And so this one, hey, if it's in the Cold War, I'm not much into future shooters. Hey, I'm there. I like that era. If it takes place like in the 80s during like the Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff like that with our relationship against Russia, like that's a really fascinating time and a lot of weird ambiguity and moral line breaking, and they could play around with a lot of storylines there. So I'm excited to see what they do, and I'll keep my eye out. And I know some people are kind of over the Call of Duty thing, so I'm sorry if this story is not for you, but it does kind of excite me.
Yeah, and they sell it crazy well too. So you can't complain that they keep making Call of Duty games. People keep buying them. So
yeah,